Hello everyone, Marcus Stahl here, and today I want to go into the third part of this series on virtual reality touch, in which we're going to be dealing with my own personal idea on what I want to do for virtual reality touch at this moment in time. Please note, I want to get this out of the way and clear right from the get-go. This is a theoretical idea, a theory. It's not a fact, it's unverified, there is no evidence completely to support this yet that has been tested. I have reasons why I believe this idea could work that are founded in the research I've done. That's why I'm going to tell it to you here today. Now that it's understood, here's the hypothesis. Via a mixture of the techniques behind the following concepts: sensory substitution, the body transfer illusion, surround haptics, and Ristify's thermal sensation overriding abilities, in conjunction with specially designed software, we can create a system of full-body virtual reality touch sensations that can cover the vectors of mechanoreception, the sense of contact; thermoception, the sense of temperature changes; stretch reception, the sensing of muscle compression; kinesthesia, the sensing of body movement; proprioception, the sensation of a body's place; and equilibrioception, the sensation of balance. The only materials that will be needed in the best case scenario are a head-mounted electrotactile and/or vibrotactile display array, a head-mounted thermoelectric heat sink, an EEG system or composite EEG-EMG system such as my virtual reality rig, a virtual reality head-mounted display such as the Oculus Rift's consumer version or Project Morpheus, a high-fidelity, high-quality pair of headphones, and a comfortable sitting location along the lines of something described in my virtual reality rig's environmental requirements and chair system. With that, I'll explain each one of the techniques initially listed briefly so you can get a rough idea of what they can do. After that, I'll sum all of this up in the final part of the video once we're all on the same page. So, let's begin with the first of these, sensory substitution. Sensory substitution is the idea that you can use inputs from one sense to make up for or take the place of the feelings in another sense. The sense of touch is very commonly used for this application, with many apparatuses like the BrainPort using the tongue's sense of touch as a placeholder for the vestibular system's function, restoring the sense of balance in people who are unable to balance themselves due to vestibular issues. Similarly, tactile substitutions are also a possible feat, whereby touch from one region can be the input for touch in another region, such as using the sensation of touch on the forehead to account for the sensation of touch on the fingers. Next up for scrutiny is the body transfer illusion. This is a false perception, where your body accepts inputs from a body that isn't its own as its own. An early form of this was the rubber hand illusion, whereby a rubber hand similar to one's own is aligned with one's own, having the rest of the arm obscured from vision to prevent proper identification. After stimulation of the real hand together with the rubber one in a similar fashion, the mind steadily adopts the false hand as its own, allowing for stimulation from the false hand to come to the head via visual confirmation. The initial full form of the body transfer illusion used an early poor virtual reality head-mounted display to display a body, whether virtually or via camera footage. This other body would be stimulated in tandem to the actual body in a similar fashion, leading to the adoption of the entire body as one's own. Moving on, let's examine the idea behind surround haptics. This technique by Disney Research takes advantage of two tactile illusions, the apparent tactile motion illusion and the phantom tactile sensation illusion. Apparent tactile motion, also known as the phi phenomenon, occurs when two vibrotactile sensations at a close proximity occur with their actuation timing overlapping. One feels as though one sensation of touch is moving from the first point to the second point in a sliding fashion. Phantom tactile sensation instantiates when two vibrotactile inputs at a distance are perceived as being one tactile sensation in between the 2 points. In mixing these two illusions, the surround haptics technique can be created by combining the two techniques, which can create a near infinite resolution tactile display across an area. Lastly, We have Ristify's thermoelectric heatsink-based method of controlling the temperature. This technique takes advantage of the body's perception of being hot or cold throughout the body after being initially introduced to the stimulus of that inclination. By timing the release of temperature pulses, the Ristify is capable of giving a feeling of being a certain temperature for the body at all points constantly. That does it for the technologies. Time to put them together and feel another world, one sense of touch at a time. The sense of mechanoreception has been tough to crack due to the surface area one has to cover. However, we can take it on with sensory substitution thanks to the benefit that new things aren't touching us at all moments in time. Thanks to my rig's goal set of little to no motion, the sense of mechanoreception loses anything really new to feel. This is what allows you to ignore the chair after a while after sitting on it, or chilly water after getting in for a bit. So long as the sensation is consistent, your body will adapt and ignore anything else in that regard unless it is new and different from what it is currently feeling. This lack of sensation leaves a void that, in a way, sensory substitution will be used to fill. By using an electrotactile or vibrotactile display at a certain location, such as the forehead, we can quickly train a user to interpret these sensations in a place of the body which should lay with nothing to feel optimally. With this, we can essentially UV map the entire body. This grid is very useful to us, since you see, surround haptics technology operates with grids. By using the electrotactile-vibrotactile display grid we already have in place with sensory substitution, we can add an essentially infinite resolution to our UV map touch points, fully covering the whole body with touch. One could even add Ristify heating and cooling along a similar line to get thermals all throughout the body as well, thus tackling thermoception along the same lines. Add on to this that this technology is already being used for the purpose of correcting the equilibrium in people suffering from vestibular issues, and will have an immersed sense of equilibrioception into the mix, thus helping to resolve a lot of the issues present in simulation or VR sickness. By combining this with full body controls, VR sight, and VR hearing, we'd get the chance to use the body transfer illusion to smooth things out. Sync your substituted touch with visual, audio, and control data brought by the system, and your mind will take your immersion up to a whole nother level. With current visual tactile methods, even our somewhat low-key methods are having great effects in getting people to adopt and feel inputs from all these items simultaneously. This essentially higher-end method should make this both easier, faster, more consistent, and more powerful. This could very well bring on a near-complete proprioceptive sense of immersion. Lastly, by syncing in tactile sensations to certain in-game changes, like the need to apply slightly more force to move an item, even stretch reception and kinesthesia may be captured with such a simulation. The final result of all of this is a system that would have mechanoreception, thermoreception, stretch reception, equilibrioception, kinesthesia, vision, hearing, and proprioception all immersed. That just about covers the idea for this item. I've updated my paper on my VR rig to reflect these items for those that want to have a look. In the end, if all the ideas presented here and in the Nerve Gear both near and far video and virtual reality rig, one could theoretically have an experience that borders on the line between high VR and full dive technology. Eventually, if the EEG technology and the head-mounted sensory substitution models advance sufficiently in fidelity and ability, you could even say the Nerve Gear is just around the corner. All that's missing, really, are the sense of smell and taste, though I suspect that solving one will help solve the other considering how closely intertwined these sensations are. Please remember, everyone, this is all just a theory at this stage, if that really. I dare say it's even more conjecture than anything else. The subject of immersion is a tricky one with many twists and turns everywhere we look. Well, everyone, I hope that you've all enjoyed the presentation, and that you'll come back in the future and join in our discussions down below in the comments section. This has been Marcus, logging out.